Want to sound more natural in American English? Then you need to pay attention to what native speakers are actually doing. I have 5 tips that you can start using in your own speech to start sounding more natural. Take a look at our first one here.
Kind of almost immediately spurned the new work, especially the editing process.
One of the first things you really need to understand about movements in American English is that American English wants to go down, 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 down until you reach the stressed sound, where you will then raise the pitch a little bit. So one of the things you're going to notice in this file is that he kind of keeps doing this moment until he reaches a stress.
Kind of almost immediately spurned the new work, especially the editing process.
Did you see that? Kinda, almost immediately, and so on and so forth. It just keeps dropping. That sort of movement is super, super common. So as you're talking, try to progressively send your pitches lower and lower until you start a new thought group. But besides that pitch movement, what else can you do to sound more natural in American English?
Looking at the work in a way and seeing the opportunities for continuations and new explorations that maybe were left unsaid or not as rigorously explored.
Did you notice that as he's talking, he's having some pauses? I know a lot of times American English learners, or learners of any language, are afraid to pause. They think it's going to make them sound less natural. But the reality is, a lot of people who learn a language are actually talking faster than native speakers are. So what you want to do is you want to actually try to incorporate more pauses into your speech. They can be used as a tool for emphasis. They can be used as a tool to show that you're thinking. They can also just be used as a tool to add contrast, to separate words that you're saying. Notice again the pauses that he has here.
Looking at the work in a way and seeing the opportunities for continuations and new explorations that maybe were left unsaid or not as rigorously explored.
How about in this third clip? What do you think I'm going to say?
And I mean, I think that's really interesting and exciting to hear.
Now, when you look at the word interesting, you see many different syllables, right? Interesting. But when you actually listen to native speakers talk, that is not how they say it. That's because this word has what are called dropped syllables, or syllables that are not actually pronounced. So what would be a 4-syllable word becomes actually just a 3-syllable word. Interesting. Quick note too for interesting, watch out for the short I sounds, the eh. So it's not it's not interesting, and it's not interesting. It's an interesting with the short I sound. Listen to him say it again here.
And I mean, I think that's really interesting and exciting to hear.
Really quick too, guys, if you're getting value from this, we have a program called Mission English where every single day of the week, 2 times a day, whether at 9:30 in the morning New York time, 1:30 p.m. New York time, or 8 p.m. New York time, we meet for 30 minutes and we discuss what native speakers are doing. We listen to them. We also listen to you and give you suggestions for your pronunciation. The best part, for $30 for the month, you get access to up to 40 classes for the entire month. For more information, visit fluentamerican.com/Mission English. Let's take a look at our next point of analysis here.
Captures and encapsulates so much. It does so much in a very distinct way.
You may have noticed that he used the phrase so much 2 times, but each time he said it, it was a little bit different. So what very often happens in English is you're going to hear people repeating themselves a lot, but when they do the repetition, oftentimes things are going to change. The stressed word might change. So maybe the first time you say so much, but maybe the second time you say so much. You may have also noticed that my pitch has changed. So much, so much. These are just little differences that you can do when you're repeating to add some contrast to what you're saying. Listen again to what he's doing.
Captures and encapsulates so much. It does so much in a very distinct way.
A final quick way to make your American English sound a little bit more natural is to take adverbs and add stress to them. That means you want to take the pitch a little higher and you want to lengthen the word so it takes up a little bit more space in your sentences.
So that's like really nice to hear that for you.
This isn't going to necessarily happen every time you use an adverb, but some very common adverbs that receive stress include really, or like especially, or pretty, sometimes even very. The next time you listen to native speakers, see if you can listen for their adverbs and also see if they're stressing them, kind of like what happens here.
So that's like really nice to hear that for you.
We mentioned a lot about pitch today, but you might be struggling with pitch. Definitely take a look at this video to make sure you're going high enough and also low enough in American English.